Conference, thank you very much. I believe, Conference, over the last 10 years, we have all learned that the best way to secure the prosperity and the progress that we want to see is to ensure that our economy remains dynamic and competitive, one that is capable of responding to the challenges and the opportunities of globalization, one that shares opportunity and prosperity across every part of our country. A thriving economy is fundamental to everything that we want to see and we want to achieve for our country and our people. I think we've also learnt that Britain's success as a nation depends on us looking out, not in, leading in Europe to seize the opportunities of globalization, not turning away, building a modern labour market that is both fair and, yes, flexible. Now, that has been our approach, a successful approach. It has seen over 2.5 million more people in work, and each with more employment rights than they had 10 years ago. Growing wealth and personal security, with 600,000 children lifted out of poverty. And rising standards for working people too, including from next week additional rights to paid leave. Now, that was a commitment developed by our National Policy Forum, delivered by our Labour government, determined to do right by Britain's hard-working families. No one should be fooled, Conference, by the Conservatives. They just don't get the modern world, the future challenges which it brings, and the new solutions which are going to be necessary. I invite everyone here today to read John Redwood's latest plan for our economy. It's all set out there, brought to us from the people who brought us 3 million unemployed, sky-high mortgage rates, and Black Wednesday. Yesterday's men with yesterday's solutions, taking Britain back to yesterday's problems. And it's an outdated agenda that would hit every business and working family in the country. And for the sake of every man, woman, and business in Britain, we need to make sure that the only opportunity that David Cameron has of getting into number 10 will be as the next former Tory leader, dropping in for tea with Gordon. And in a time of global change, we must be the country of change, capable of advancing fairness at work and the conditions for full employment. Any business which fails to value and support its workforce will fail to prosper in the future. The vast majority of British companies today understand this, and that is why the CBI are standing together with the TUC to root out the rogue employers and ensure every single worker in Britain benefits from the improved protection that this Labour government has introduced. Now we must find new ways to support our most vulnerable workers, and I accept that. Some of them are migrant workers, prepared to travel 1,000 miles in search of a new life, only to find themselves victims of 19th century employment practices, forcing workers to take accommodation as part of their employment terms, confiscating their passports. Now, these scandalous practices have no place in modern Britain. So we must work together to stamp them out. And that is why today I applaud the GMB, UCAT and Unite for the way they are working with employers and this Labour government in the Vulnerable Workers Forum to tackle that injustice. Yet in a global age where firms will rightly move across the world to find the best business environment, we also need to be clear that it's not progressive or family-friendly if new rules make firms think twice about taking on extra workers, or at worst, put people out of work. Now, I think it is because we understand that the right to work itself, to enable people to provide for themselves and their families, is so fundamental to delivering social justice that we want to make Britain the best place in the world to do business. And if globalization means companies can move across the world, I want them to choose to come here and create British jobs. Now, that is why I made clear at the TUC that as we fulfill our agreement at Warwick to seek progress in Europe on the Agency Workers Directive, we meet our commitment to the principle of equal treatment with a determination to protect jobs here in the United Kingdom and continue giving people the choice that agency work can offer. Full employment remains our goal, and it is within our grasp. Now, we will only achieve it if we do more to support British companies to grow and compete in the global marketplace. And that means harnessing the potential of every region and every community in Britain. That is why we created the regional development agencies, which the Tories would scrap, that have helped either create or safeguard more than 600,000 jobs in every part of Britain. But we must do more. If we believe in equality of opportunity, as we all do, it cannot be right that there are fewer new business startups in the poorest areas of Britain. Enterprise can help us create a fairer and a more progressive society. And that is why I am working with some of Britain's leading entrepreneurs to understand what more we can do to spread new business creation and growth across every part of the UK. And a country of change must be capable of confronting the most fundamental challenge of all. Not simply sustaining economic growth in Britain in the years ahead, but tackling the immense and growing challenge of climate change. Nothing is more fundamental to our economy or our society than how we source our energy. And we must now make, all of us, the transition to a low-carbon economy. Government will play its part. The government that Gordon leads will not be among those who say they want to tackle global warming by moving to low-carbon energy sources, but then oppose every opportunity to do so. The government that Gordon leads will not shrink from taking the critical decisions on the future security of our energy supply, including whether to allow investment in new nuclear power stations. And the government Gordon leads will drive forward with delivering a step change in our use of renewable energy. And here we must lead at home as well as abroad. A country of change must be prepared to embrace tomorrow's energy sources. So today I can announce that the government will now start work on the feasibility of a Severn barrage. A truly visionary project, unparalleled in scale, potentially generating 5% of the UK's electricity from renewable sources. As we undertake this work, we must, of course, understand the true environmental, social and economic impacts of such a project. They are potentially considerable. But so too, conference, is the challenge of climate change. And we must all have open, not closed minds about how we meet the energy needs of tomorrow. And with Labour on their side, I know British business can step up to the challenge and the opportunities of a low-carbon economy in the years ahead. Going green shouldn't mean going slow. One of the fastest-growing investment funds in the City of London this year promises to be a climate change fund, investing in industries that combat climate change and help people cope with its effects. I want British companies to lead the way in developing those new technologies and seizing those opportunities. I want to consider how best we can help equip British companies to maximize the potential of new markets in green business. And yes, a thriving manufacturing sector, supplementing the blue and white-collar jobs of today with a new wave of green-collar jobs tomorrow. That, I believe, is the way to secure the future of our manufacturing base. Not turning the clock back because we can't, not subsidizing some jobs today only at the expense of more jobs in the future, but by embracing future markets and new opportunities. And with a new strength of unity and a common purpose, Britain, under the leadership of Gordon Brown, can be that country of change. And we can win for Britain. And British business can win in the new global economy. Thank you very much.